I was driving home from work. I work nights on an Air Force base and stopped by McDonald's to treat myself after my PT test. I had to drive extremely far from my home to find an open McDonald's at 2 in the morning, and when I finally found one, I was 30 minutes from home. After getting my food, I started driving home. The entire way home, I felt an extreme existential dread, like something was off about the road I was on, and I felt like I was alone and would never see my wife again. I was on a stretch of highway with trees on both sides and 0 cars passing. After about 10 minutes of driving with no other cars, I saw a stoplight. The light was green, but there was a deer standing under the light. It had been raining, and the puddle under the deer made it look like its legs had another joint where its feet should be, and that it was about a foot taller than it should have been. When I drove up on it, I realized it wasn't the reflection, and that was just how it was. I went to drive around it, and as soon as my front bumper got past the deer, my radio that had previously been playing music blasted static at max volume. I turned the radio off and floored it. When I turned around, the deer that had been previously facing to the right was facing my car, staring at it. I went 20 over the speed limit on the way home, cut through privatized housing, and sped over all the speed bumps in my complex to get inside. By far the scariest thing that's happened to me, but I'm not too scared anymore, considering I haven't heard of Skinwalkers following people home. After last night, I'm a believer that Skinwalkers exist and still roam freely. I'm still terrified of what I saw, and I wasn't the only one that witnessed it. My girlfriend and I had just gotten into our vehicle and were about to head out for a drink around 10:30. Now, before I continue, I want to paint a little picture of our surroundings, but I don't want to give much information of my specific location or anything, just to be safe. I will say that we are staying in a public lodging in Montana on a hiking trip. Our vehicle was in a fairly vacant lot with a 12-foot fenced enclosure at the end of it. We had just gotten into our car, like I said before, and I turned the vehicle on, the automatic lights flipped on, revealing what I immediately knew had to be a skinwalker. It sprung forward from its previous sitting position and ran about 3 very fast steps before leaping over the fence, and its body scared the fuck out of me. It had light tan skin, but it was very spindly. Think Slender Man build, but it was only about 6 foot to 7 foot tall. Its arms were long as shit, with thin, long fingers that looked almost like claws. The head had a human shape to it, but the eyes, they turned to look at us in that brief moment, and there was just no light reflection from the eyes. Nothing, just black. It all happened in less than 5 seconds. I turned toward my girlfriend, hoping I didn't see what I just saw. She sat there staring at the fence and could only whisper, "Drive." I couldn't move. I just kept saying, "That was a fucking skinwalker," before she finally was able to turn towards me and basically scream at me to drive. I got us the fuck out of there, and we proceeded to go to the bar and get shit-faced. Hey scaredy cats, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on any of the stories. If you have any stories that you'd like for me to read, you can find the links for submissions in the description below.